The air in Chicago's West Englewood area was filled with a sense of camaraderie as volunteers assembled to distribute Thanksgiving dinners to the disadvantaged. I was part of the group, eager to offer a small gesture of goodwill on this holiday. As we approached the neighborhood, a sea of grateful faces greeted us. We started distributing meals, turkey, mashed potatoes, and all the fixings, hoping to bring a glimmer of joy to those facing hardship. Laughter and gratitude filled the air, and for a fleeting moment, it felt like we were making a difference. However, the atmosphere suddenly shifted. A tense silence fell over the streets, a palpable sense of unease that sent a shiver down my spine. Whispers traveled through the crowd like an ominous murmur, hinting at an underlying tension I couldn't quite grasp. Suddenly, chaos erupted. A commotion in the distance swiftly escalated into a cacophony of shouting and screeching tires. Startled, we looked around, trying to comprehend the sudden shift in the atmosphere. And then the deafening sound of gunfire shattered the peace. Panic engulfed us as we scrambled for cover. Bullets whizzed past, echoing through the streets. Fear clenched my heart as I realized we had unwittingly stumbled into a turf war, caught in the crossfire of rival gangs. Volunteers and recipients alike ducked behind cars, buildings, any semblance of shelter. The festive spirit was replaced by sheer terror as the violent confrontation raged around us. In that harrowing moment, the line between altruism and danger blurred into a surreal nightmare. The sound of sirens pierced the chaos, but it offered little solace. The gunfire persisted, ricocheting off surfaces, a relentless symphony of terror. I huddled closer to my fellow volunteers, praying for a miracle, hoping against hope that help would arrive in time. The minutes felt like an eternity, each passing second fraught with uncertainty and dread. Smoke billowed from nearby buildings, adding to the mayhem and confusion. Fear and adrenaline surged through my veins as thoughts of survival consumed every fiber of my being. Through the turmoil, a glimmer of hope emerged. The gunfire gradually dwindled, replaced by the distant wail of sirens growing louder. Relief washed over us as law enforcement and emergency services raced into the neighborhood, attempting to quell the violence. Emerging from our places of refuge, we were met with a scene of devastation. The aftermath of the turf war left its mark, streets littered with debris, shattered glass, and the haunting silence of a community scared by conflict. As we regrouped, a somber realization settled in. We had narrowly escaped a perilous situation, our lives hanging by a thread in the midst of a senseless turf war. The mission of spreading Thanksgiving cheer had morphed into a surreal fight for survival. Shaken but determined, we continued our efforts, albeit with a renewed sense of caution. Despite the harrowing experience, our commitment to making a difference remained unwavering. We distributed the remaining meals to those brave enough to venture out, hoping to bring a spark of warmth amid the lingering fear. Leaving the neighborhood, I couldn't shake off the haunting memories of that Thanksgiving day. The experience had been a stark reminder of the fragility of life, the stark contrast between goodwill and the grim reality of violence that plagues disadvantaged communities.
Thanksgiving dinner, a time meant for gratitude and togetherness, took an unexpected turn that shattered the fabric of our family unity. As we gathered around the table, laughter and conversation flowed, disguising the underlying tension that lurked beneath the surface. I, the eldest sibling, observed the subtle animosity in my younger sibling's eyes throughout the evening. Unresolved bitterness stemming from an old grudge, buried deep within, threatened to unravel the harmony of our gathering. The air crackled with unresolved emotions. My cousin, the subject of my siblings' simmering resentment due to an old high school crush, remained blissfully unaware of the animosity directed their way. Little did anyone know that my sibling harbored a plan, a calculated act of vengeance, concealed within the folds of their seemingly benign actions. As the night progressed, I sensed a shift in their demeanor, a glint of mischief behind their eyes as they poured a glass of wine for our cousin. Minutes stretched into an eternity as the evening unfolded. Laughter echoed, but beneath the surface, a sinister plot was in motion. My cousin, trusting and unsuspecting, took a sip from the glass handed to them by my sibling. A hushed silence descended upon the room as my cousin's expression morphed from joy to discomfort. A subtle unease crept over them, the initial signs of distress camouflaged within a facade of polite conversation. Soon, distress twisted their features, a grimace of pain etched upon their face. Panic seized us as my cousin clutched their throat, gasping for breath. The room erupted into chaos, the atmosphere tainted by fear and confusion. In the midst of the turmoil, my siblings' facade crumbled. Horror and realization dawned upon them as they witnessed the dire consequences of their actions. Guilt washed over their features, tears streaming down their face as they confessed to their motive behind this malicious act. It was because of the marriage, their voice trembled, wrought with remorse. I couldn't bear seeing them happy when I still harbored this resentment, but I never meant for it to end like this. Their confession hung heavy in the air, a revelation that shattered the illusion of familial harmony. But amidst the turmoil, the true nature of the substance remained a mystery, adding to the dread and confusion that engulfed us. Paramedics arrived, providing urgent medical aid to our cousin, narrowly averting a potential tragedy. As the chaos subsided, a cloud of suspicion lingered in the room. The truth behind the substance remained veiled, a lingering mystery that deepened the chasm within our fractured family. In the aftermath, as we grappled with guilt and sought reconciliation, the harrowing events of that Thanksgiving night served as a haunting reminder of the destructive power of unresolved grievances. The truth behind the substance finally surfaced, revealing a calculated and vengeful act that nearly led to irreparable consequences.
It was a nondescript suburb on the outskirts of Chicago, where Thanksgiving meant more than just family dinners and football games. I found myself drawn to this peculiar town, an outsider enticed by the novelty of its customs. The welcome seemed warm, but the smiles held secrets, whispers of something ominous lurking beneath the surface. They invited me to partake in their Thanksgiving festivities, an honor, they said, bestowed upon few newcomers. As the day dawned, the town came alive with preparations. I watched as households adorned with autumnal decorations bustled with activity. Yet, an eerie silence lingered, a feeling that whispered of ancient traditions buried deep within the town's history. Curiosity drove me to explore the town's outskirts, where I stumbled upon an old manor, a relic of faded grandeur. The locals spoke in hushed tones of its previous owner, whose dark legacy was the very heart of the town's peculiar Thanksgiving rituals. Invited to the grand feast, I marveled at the opulence of the occasion. But as the night wore on, an unsettling air settled upon the gathering. Murmurs echoed through the hall, a warning, perhaps, hidden in cryptic phrases and veiled glances. The town's festivities reached their zenith when the moon hung high in the sky. Unbeknownst to me, this was the pivotal moment, the unveiling of traditions that transcended time, tinged with an otherworldly aura. As the clock struck midnight, the atmosphere shifted. The joviality turned to an eerie solemnity. Shadows danced on the walls, and the air grew thick with an inexplicable energy, a foreboding sense of ancient forces awakening. The townspeople began to chant, their voices a haunting melody that reverberated through the night. I found myself amidst an age-old ritual, a dark communion with forces beyond comprehension. The ground beneath me seemed to pulse with an unearthly power. In a state of bewilderment, I witnessed the convergence of the past and present, the ritual's arcane purpose laid bare. It was a sacrifice, an offering to appease entities that lurked in the shadows, seeking retribution for a forgotten transgression. And unfortunately, I was attended to be that offering. As the night unfolded, I realized the dire truth. I was unwittingly part of a cycle of darkness, an outsider ensnared in the town's malevolent traditions. In a chilling revelation, I understood the ominous warnings and cryptic glances my presence had triggered a culmination of ancient prophecies. In a desperate bid to escape the grasp of malevolent forces, I navigated the maze of twisted corridors, haunted by the specters of the manor's tormented past. The town's sinister legacy threatened to consume me, leaving me entangled in a nightmarish web spun from age-old malevolence. Just as it seems all hope is lost, I stumble upon a hidden passage, an escape route concealed for centuries. Gasping for breath, heart pounding in my chest, I emerge into the cold night air, the moon casting an ethereal glow over the landscape. I sprint through the town, adrenaline fueling every step, determined to break free from the town's malevolent grasp. The chanting fades into the distance as I reach the town's outskirts, the manor and its chilling secrets receding behind me. Exhausted but alive, I leave the enigmatic suburb behind, vowing never to return. The haunting memories of that surreal Thanksgiving night remain etched in my mind, a chilling reminder of the darkness lurking beneath the facade of quaint traditions, a secret I now carried with me, a tale I dare not speak of. As I drive away, the night ski seems to hold a deeper darkness, a reminder of the tenebrous forces that dwell within the town's hidden past. With a mix of relief and lingering apprehension, I journey back to the familiar comfort of the city, forever changed by the harrowing experience in the enigmatic Chicago suburb.